Whatever. You're such a nerd. You are such a nerd, and that's why we're talking about one of the biggest dad movies on the planet today.
What?
This is totally a dad movie, isn't it?
You mean like a guy movie?
Yeah. Or like you'd come down, like The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly kind of thing, where you would come down the stairs if you're like 6 and your dad would be drinking way too many beers, and they'd be like, "Sit down and watch this."
Is that what they do in Canada? Like, get your Molson Ice there.
We don't actually have fathers in Canada. Once we turn
they have
8
daddies.
months, we break out of the ice and go off on our own.
Here's your fishing line.
Here's your ice pick and your toque.
Here's your cooler, your pair of hockey tickets. Go on and take the family station wagon there.
Here's your oh hey, good to see you got out of the ice there. You know,
don't forget
there's a pair of skates there if you want to get off the ice and back onto solid ground, huh?
Don't forget your moose suspenders there.
Now that's a real beaver pelt there. They'll keep you nice and warm during the winter.
You're like slowly turning it into a Transylvanian accent. It'll
Now,
keep you
Boulder,
warm during the winter.
During the winter. No, I do it to restart, Craig. This is all gold, though. We're going to keep it, actually. No one's listening.
Blah, blah, blah.
Blah, blah, blah. Get on your moose and ride towards the sunset. You need to watch the What We Do in the Shadows show.
No.
Yeah, you do.
I believe I just said no.
I think you do.
Is it a complete series out on Blu-ray?
Nope, and it probably won't be because it's FX. So you need to get the fucking boulder out of your ass and watch the show.
I'm not subscribing to any more channels than what I already have.
There are other means.
I'm not doing anything illegal.
You could buy it on Google Play or something. Anyway.
Anywho.
Let's talk about the Bullitt.
Oh my God.
Well, Garrett, what movie did you pick this week? Did you even pick this? Did I pick this? Who picked this?
I'm pretty sure I
picked it. Weird
picked
amalgamation? Did we both pick it at the same time? Did we say it out loud at the exact same time?
No, it was, I had watched The Driver, and so it made me put my favorite, car movies on my Letterboxd, and I think we started talking about car movies that you needed to see.
And I stalk you frequently.
Yeah, and so then we started talking because Bullitt was the first one that I listed, and you're like, I still need to see that, and I'm like, well, why don't we just watch it, and we'll do a podcast on it, and you're like, yeah!
Yeah, and then we did.
And here we are.
And that's the show.
Well, good night, folks.
Have a good night, everybody. Garrett, why don't you tell all the people what the Bullitt is about?
It's like Italian now. You're Italian.
I am Italiano.
I mean, Bullitt is basically an excuse for Steve McQueen to be Steve McQueen.
Yeah.
But it's specifically about a police officer in San Francisco who is supposed to protect someone that is going to...
He's a witness.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of...
the organization.
Yeah, so he has, they pick him up on, a Friday evening, and Monday morning he has a court date that he has to testify, and so they're supposed to watch over him and protect him. And things go awry.
And then good old Bullitt's got to get to the bottom of it.
Yeah, and so Bullitt, the reason it's spelled the way it is not based on a caliber of ammunition from a gun, but the character's name is Frank Bullitt.
Bullettino. Frankie Bellate.
Frankie Baloney.
But this movie was a lot more of a noir than I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be more of a car movie, but I was kind of pleasantly surprised at how slow and thoughtful it was and quiet. Until it isn't, and then it's awesome.
Yeah, no, it very much so is a 60s film. It very much so is the start of procedural type the basis of those types of films, maybe.
Sure.
I think what everyone remembers is the car chase.
Yeah.
But there's definitely a lot of really interesting elements. One of the things I most liked about it is there are no sets. Everything is filmed on location.
Yeah, which is pretty cool.
Yeah. So when they're in the hospital, they're literally in a hospital. They shut down a section of an actual hospital and used actual doctors and nurses instead of actors as side characters.
Even his strangely laid out apartment, that's a location too.
Yep.
The staircase that leads directly to the fridge.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's like he has a loft.
Yeah.
So it's like a brownstone kind of where it's like, you
brownstone.
Gosh. Mr. Crowley.
He's got what? His apartment's like a bedroom, a bathroom, and a refrigerator.
Yeah, I mean, he is a bachelor. And I mean, that's one of the things I like about it is there's a lot of little details. I mean, like it shows him going to the local market to get like his frozen dinners.
Yeah.
Even though he's dating Jacqueline Bisset. Is like the hottest chick in the 60s, and it's like, well, I live in a man cave with posters all over the wall.
He's just cool. The whole movie, he's just a badass.
He's McQueen.
Yeah. There's one scene, and it really caught my eye, and I don't know why. Is when he's in the hospital, and he's like talking to the doctor, and he's eating a sandwich the whole time, and it's hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
He just destroys a sandwich during the scene, and I don't know why it stuck out to me so vividly, but
because it's something Brad Pitt would do in a movie, like an Ocean's 11.
That's what I thought. That's what I thought it was like. But it just felt cool. Like he made eating the sandwich while talking to the doctor not look like some like slob eating food and having a conversation at the same time. It was like part of his character.
See, that's one of the interesting things about this is that very much so is a McQueen vehicle, and so he kind of had say on everything that happened.
Right.
So it's like, okay, I want to be a jazz soundtrack, and then he's like, it's going to take place over the weekend, so I can wear whatever it is that I want to wear. I don't have to be dressed as a police uniform.
Right.
And
that jazz soundtrack is fucking sick too. I'll say that.
Oh, it's amazing.
I wish there was more of it.
That's the thing. It's so good. You're like, I would love to hear more of these songs.
Like, I liked that there was obviously a lot of silence to accentuate like the noirish elements and the stalking parts and all that, but I still would have liked some funky bass or something at some point during those two.
Did you notice that other than the blood, there was hardly any red in the rest of the film?
No.
It is to make those blood squibs stand out so much more.
That's interesting.
Yeah, so it's like they thought of a lot of things about the color palette, how
that's
often.
Almost, like I don't know, Texas Chainsaw-esque, where it's like it makes the bouts of violence seem more in a way, because there's no red in the rest of the movie. That when the red appears with the gunshots, it's like it feels more gruesome or something.
Mm-hmm.
It's something that's like unknown throughout the visuals of the movie so far. That's pretty cool.
It's something S. Craig would do.
Sure, yeah.
A lot of the car chase sequences had McQueen like sticking his head out of the window, or like you could see him in the rearview mirror to like show you, yes, he's doing some of the stunts. He's doing some of the driving,
Everyone uses hand turn signals, which is kind of funny.
Mm-hmm.
I know that's dating it, but like I noticed immediately, it's one of the first things that happens. Somebody turns left and he puts his hand out the window, and I'm like, no one does that. Got a feeling we're not in 2020.
No, there's no cell phones.
Yeah.
But there's so many interesting characters, even if I don't remember their name. Like there's the guy with the yellow sunglasses and like the pencil thin
Okay, that
beard.
was ridiculous. Like, what the hell? When he showed up, I was like, what am I watching now? This just turned into like Fear and Loathing.
I was saying he looked like Alan Rickman.
Yeah. He had this strangest facial hair in the world.
John McClane.
Yippee-ki-yay. Motherfucker.
No, but it's like that is exactly what I would picture someone that would have their ear to the underground criminal organizations to look like.
Right.
You know, obviously a guy that would be like at a bar or at a club, and it's like, oh, you need a fix? You go and see that guy. He just seems like there's a lot of interesting character things.
Yeah.
I mean, Robert Vaughn is fantastic as the sleazy political guy.
Right? I just felt the whole time that he was going to be like the bad guy.
Yes.
Like the entire time until the credits rolled, I was convinced that it was going to be a twist with him. He was just felt like such a little scumbag.
Mm-hmm.
And you know who I really like thought of the whole time?
Who's that?
Was Harvey Dent.
Yeah.
How cool he would have been.
And we get to see Robert Duvall as just a cab driver.
Yeah, just a dude. He popped up in the credits as like, oh, cool. And then he's just like barely in it. I think, but this was pre-Godfather too, so.
Right, yeah. This was
there
like
was
one
in
of
my
those
head,
out there.
though. There was in my head of like, ooh, Robert Duvall must have done it because he's only been in the movie for like a minute and he's a big star, but he wasn't a big star back then, so. It was pretty cool.
Oh, the guy in Mindhunter.
Yeah.
Bill Tench.
Yeah.
Reminds me of the captain in this.
Yeah. I would agree with that.
So every time I see him, you know,
the Bullitt guy.
Yeah, I'm like, I wonder if that's like based on some real guy, because he just looks so much like him. That hairstyle and the way he presents himself and the hard nose and everything.
All the villains kind of have cool little quirks to them too, like the gray-haired guy. I mean, there aren't very many villains, but you know.
Well, and they like have either no dialogue or hardly any dialogue, and so everything has to be visual.
It makes them seem like something else almost.
Yeah,
and they just kind of like come in, shoot, and leave.
Right, and it's like you have the one guy who actually like goes into the hospital to take out the baddie.
Yeah,
and then you have the guy that's the driver who is actually a stunt driver. So it's interesting that they just put one of the best stunt drivers in Hollywood like as the character.
Yeah, well, that means they don't have to make a stunt driver do the stunt driving.
Right. I love it when McQueen wipes out like in the dirt and there's the big dust cloud and the guy looks back in the rearview mirror and smirks.
Yeah.
It's so perfect. It's like all those little details. It's so good.
And I like how that entire sequence had no music whatsoever. It was all just the car sounds.
Yeah, as soon
the screeching and all that.
Right, as soon as he puts it in a high gear and he's running. I mean, I love the whole thing where McQueen turns down the road when they're following him, and then when they pull up to the intersection, they don't see him. And then he pulls up behind him almost like a shark, and now he's hunting them.
Yes. Yeah. When they like don't know which way he goes and like he starts following down the hill. Yeah, that was so cool. God. How about there was a cool shot in that too where they were like going down this long hill and they went over like one bump, one car, then the second car, then they went over another hill, like one car, second car, and then it did a big crash zoom out and the two cars like turned left and the camera followed them. Like some of just the orchestration that it must have took to pull that kind of stuff off is just wonderful.
Yeah.
No quick cuts or like fast-paced editing. Like it just feels like meaty and like it's actually happening. Like they're muscle cars.
I would. There's not a lot of like artifice where it's like, oh, that's clearly sped up, or you know, it's like they're actually racing on the streets.
Yeah. Going through stop signs and shit.
Right. And the interesting thing too about this is the people that like worked on this and some of the production team for the car chases would end up going on to do the 7-Ups, which is another great car chase thing, the French Connection. As like some of the greatest car sequences all came from like this team.
Right. Those are all movies that I gotta watch.
Yes, they are.
I heard French Connection's really good.
I do like French Connection. It's like it overshadows in people's minds, it overshadows To Live and Die in L.A., but I like To Live and Die in L.A. better.
Right. Okay. Those are both car movies?
Both car movies and both...
Nothing. I was adding in because I thought you weren't drinking. You were letting me speak or something.
Oh. Sorry. I want to make sure of this before I say it. Yeah, William Friedkin directed both of these, French Connection and To Live and Die in L.A.
Oh, cool. I knew it was somebody that I knew.
Yeah. I mean, he's such an underrated director. It's like everyone remembers him from The Exorcist and The French Connection, and of his movies, like, those are really good, but they're not my favorite of his.
Sure. I gotta watch more. I was reading that Lynch biography, and he was talking about him at one point, and he called him Billy Friedkin or whatever his last name is, and I was like, I fucking like they all just know each other and they're all buddy, and to read about it is like hilarious. Old Billy Friedkin.
Old Billy.
Old Billy. I just made this picture, and I thought it was bad.
Some of the interesting things about, Bullitt is PG, but it still feels like more of an adult movie just because of the theme.
Yeah, and its execution as well too feels very mature and very.
Yeah, which is like a shame why they can't make PG movies like that now. But
yeah,
not that it matters.
Borderline impossible to get anyway now, but
right.
This movie, if it came out now, would be PG-13 because it says bullshit. Well, it would be R because of the blood, but
I don't know. You can show blood, can't you?
I think it'd be PG-13 because it's not like spraying blood. It's like post-shot blood, right?
Yeah. Well, the thing is, any episode of CSI has this or worse.
Yeah, I know. TV is different, but Hannibal was only 14A, I think. Like PG-14 or whatever, TV-14. That's some of the most violent shit I've ever seen in my life. Some of that fucking shit is so... I don't know how it was on NBC, anyway. They don't make them like this now, though. It's one of those examples of those movies where, especially like studios, almost don't feel confident enough to release something like this anymore. And it's the times that are changing, obviously, as well, too. But back then, like, the movie star and was a draw for any movie. People go see Steve McQueen.
I agree, and I also think at the same time too, the story doesn't hold your hand.
Yeah, which like modern audiences kind of need almost in especially like studio blockbuster kind of stuff.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff like they don't give you very much up front, and then they kind of gloss it over at the end.
Yeah.
So you're not necessarily going for the story, I guess. It's like you're going for the stunts and there's never any indication necessarily that like McQueen's not either going to be successful or like he's going to die or something.
Right.
Even though it doesn't have necessarily like a happy ending where everybody gets what they want.
Sure. No, it is still a darker ending. Because it is kind of that noir-esque kind of thing. He doesn't die, but yeah.
And then the whole like chase at the end at the airport is very Heat-esque.
Right. That was what I thought of, especially like when they were out on the airfield.
Right. Hooah!
'Cause she got a great ass. Although I did honestly... I was wondering if the movie would kill McQueen when, like, the guy had the gun on him or whatever on the airfield. I'm shocked that the guy didn't get, like, sucked up into one of the planes because they were, like, running underneath those planes and, like...
Yeah, and they really did that, too.
Those jet engines are, like, powerful. I think McQueen runs behind one at one point, and I was like, how did he not get blown over?
Oh, they interviewed him... And he said that when he was on the pavement, that it was slamming his body up and down off the pavement.
When he ducked down underneath it?
Yes.
Jesus.
Yeah. And it's like, but they're like, when you go to the movie, you want to see McQueen do it.
You don't want to see the stuntman.
Right. And I guess that was one of the things, too, is previous to this, he was in The Great Escape where he did that big cycle. Jump. Yeah, but he didn't actually do the jump, and people were like kind of giving him a hard time about it because the stuntman had to do it.
I haven't seen that movie, but I've seen that jump, and that's a fucking wicked jump for a movie star to do.
Exactly. Well, that's the thing. Is
insane.
Like, he wanted to do it. That. Like, he wanted to do it, but because, like, you know, if McQueen gets in a wreck, you're shutting down the production because you can't go on without him.
I mean, and if that shot was a wreck, the dude would probably die. That jump.
Right.
If you wrecked off of that jump, you'd probably be splat on the floor with a fucking 2-ton bike on top of you.
Right.
I should watch that too. It's like 4 hours long, though, isn't
it? But it is phenomenal.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, it's not necessarily historically accurate.
Well, it doesn't really matter.
Right,
I mean,
but as far as like big stars in a war movie, there are fewer that are greater. It's definitely I mean, because
I'll take a well-made, well-constructed story over historical realism any day. Just so you know.
I like to have both, but
well, both is good, yes, but
I mean, you've seen the people that Richard Attenborough's in it.
Yeah.
Right, it is. It is.
I don't know.
Richard.
This ain't the Great Escape podcast, bro.
No, but I'm saying, like, it's the guy that's in Jurassic Park, not the guy that's in BBC.
Yeah. David Attenborough is
okay.
BBC.
Yeah, I mean, they're related.
And then plot twist is we got him wrong and it's flipped. No, it's David Attenborough is the Planet Earth guy.
Spared no expense. Richard, what's happening?
It's just crazy to see this kind of this vehicle for pure movie star. I don't really think there are few movie stars like this nowadays, I think, that have this much of a pull.
There's few movie stars in the history of film with the pull of McQueen.
Yeah. I don't even know who a modern McQueen would be.
Because there isn't one.
I think Tarantino was trying to suggest that DiCaprio might be it in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, but
I think he was suggesting that Brad Pitt is.
You think so?
Yeah.
I was just thinking that him putting DiCaprio in The Great Escape was him trying to say that if DiCaprio was around back then, he would be at that level. He would be like butting heads with McQueen, fighting for parts kind of thing. It's
kind of like having a movie with two of the biggest stars of modern day together, like, equates to how big Steve McQueen was.
Can you believe we are talking about that movie in like the 6th podcast in a row? God damn it.
Well, you brought it up.
I had to. You can't not. It's a great movie.
Well, it's a movie about old Hollywood.
Around this time, too.
Yeah, so if you watch old Hollywood movies...
It takes place only a couple of years after. Not to mention Steve McQueen is in it, technically. As a character, but...
I mean, technically he's not in
it. I mean, Damian Lewis does an okay job playing him, though.
Yeah, no, I liked his portrayal. Outside of, like, hologram technology of CGing McQueen into the movie, based on, like, old film stock or something, you're not going to have an opportunity to actually put him in.
So. They should never do that with any of them. Remember that James Dean story that came out?
No,
they were going to try to throw him into a movie.
That technology should not be used in any film. Yeah,
should be illegal. It's like
no, it doesn't need to be.
It's fucking disgusting.
I feel like good taste should. I don't know. I mean, it's like I know, like they did it with Star Wars and things like that, but
I feel like that. Yeah, well. It's weird. That's weird. Like the Rogue One stuff, like his estate said, they felt like he would have been okay with it. That's the kind of person he was. He loved that character and all that. Tarkin, if you're talking about. But like, I haven't seen any James Dean movies, honestly. But was he actually that good? Like,
wow,
motherfucker was in like 3 movies and then died. Like, we gonna dig him back up now and hologram? Throw him in a movie?
I think it is one of those things to where, like, he was so young and he was so good looking.
The person.
He was he was a star on the rise.
Right.
And so it's like, what could he have been if it didn't get cut short?
Well, I guess we should CG Ant Yelchin in the same film then, huh? Just kidding. I just had to talk about my boy.
No, that's fine. My sigh wasn't at you, really.
Whatever.
No, it's like, I don't see what the big deal with James Dean is, but I also didn't see what the big deal with Marilyn Monroe is either.
Right.
You know, I mean, it's not like, oh, they were terrible. No, they were fine.
They're terrible.
You know, but it's like, there are so many like fantastic actors that no one ever talks about, or that they didn't think as highly of, because they chose difficult roles. You know, it's like James Dean chose roles of being a young guy who didn't have his head on straight and was a wild card in every movie. Well, that's not necessarily acting, because that's who he was.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like, it depends on what you mean by what a great actor is. As a great actor, I like that person's personality. I think they're neat, or I want to fuck them. Therefore, I want to see them in a movie. If that's the case, then it's like, good-looking people are great actors. But if it's like, I want a chameleon that makes me believe what it is that they're doing, or they do a lot of hard work in order to get to be that role, like Daniel Day-Lewis will actually like go out and spend time and start chopping wood and making his own clothes, because he wants to become the character that he's trying to play, and he doesn't do things different. So it's, you know, method acting is way different than, hey, we can just pretend like we're suffering. We don't actually have to suffer. So it's like, I can see from both ways, but it's like, to me, he was an annoying little brat.
Right.
You know, he was a young guy that was reckless, and so his life ended the same way that he was leading to. So I think the mystique of burning bright and dying fast is the thing that keeps some of the people's memory alive. But I mean, if you were to ask the majority of people going to a cinema today, not that anyone's going to the cinema today, but in a typical
we're go through a whole
fashion,
cast without mentioning it, but
I didn't say anything. If normally, if you were to go and you were to ask someone, do you know who James Dean is, or have you ever seen a James Dean movie? They would do one of two things. One, they would say no, or two, they would say, oh, you mean the adult film star?
That's what I was gonna go for. I was letting you do it. Man.
Yeah, I think 9 out of 10 times. I mean, yeah, they're definitely, if you ask a certain age group, they're going to remember who he is. Just like if you ask a certain age group who the greatest rock star is, they're going to say Elvis. But that's not true either. You know,
everybody knows it was Nickelback. Never made that one man.
So, I mean, to me, it's different from like Freddie Mercury or David Bowie, who like had a full career and proved what they were. And then when they died, it's like, wow, they had so much more to offer. Prince, you know, it's like, there's all the unreleased songs that he had. He had so much more to offer, but he died.
Sure.
And it's different for someone that is mostly remembered for the fact of how brief their career was.
Sure. So we should dig him up and put him in a movie now.
Well, he can't act anymore wooden.
Bum, 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 bum.
I mean, You're Tearing Me Apart, Lisa, you do realize that came from James Dean.
I know, I'm aware.
All right. Which people say like, oh, that's ruined the scene for me. And I'm like, he was overacting and that was ridiculous. Yeah. So it's like, Tommy Wiseau has now made it funny and interesting for me to see it because it's like the perfect parody of it.
Tommy Wiseau has ruined James Dean.
Has made James Dean better.
That's true. You're tearing me apart, Lisa. Everybody betray me. I'm so fed up with this world.
I've actually seen that on the big screen.
The Room?
Yeah.
Cool. Was he there?
No.
Oh.
That would have been fun.
Would it?
I don't know if it would have been.
He's a prick.
He's not a prick.
He's a prick. All the stories are he's an asshole, apparently.
He's actually a nice. Maybe if you had to live with him or had to work with him, but as a fan going to see him, he actually seems like a really nice guy.
Well, I'm sure he'd grope me like he groped Jay.
Also, growing a beard, huh?
Jay's beard gives me aspirations that one day mine could be big. Is if you see like his like old chin strap or whatever versus now. End of story. Very nice.
Very nice.
What else is there in this one? What else did you want to talk about?
I mean, it's the same guy who directed Kroll.
Okay.
So I'm gonna say that the thing that made this a really interesting movie is completely Steve McQueen.
Oh God. I mean, it's him. It carries it. He is
right.
like one of the biggest points of the whole movie for me was the atmosphere.
Mm-hmm.
And he was the atmosphere.
Right.
It was like cool and badass the whole time, right? But that was all because of McQueen and his skulking about, stalking people and eating sandwiches.
Those delicious sandwiches.
I could go for a sandwich right about now, though. I'll tell you, I haven't had like a nice like diner sandwich in so long.
Really? Why not?
I just hadn't felt like it. 'Cause of the corona!
Dun 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 dun.
My virus.
So what is something that this movie could have done better to make you love it even?
Honestly, it was slightly more music. Like, that was a legitimate complaint I had for it.
Okay.
Only because I liked the music, but I also thought it could have helped set some of the atmosphere a little bit better than total silence could have in some of the stalking parts, I think. Which maybe also would have made the part where it completely pulls away the music during the car chase, like, even more meaningful, kind of. I don't know.
That's fair.
I understand why it went for no silence, and it works. Just personally, I thought it had a couple of little grooves that it could have used in some of the like more stocky parts where he's following somebody. Could have made it feel a little more I don't want to say a little more upbeat or anything, but like could have paced it a little quicker. I don't know.
Sure, that's fair.
I understand why it's as slow as it was. It was maybe just a touch too slow. I don't know. But it is all building up to that car chase. Like, it feels like it's going up in gear the entire time.
Yeah, I mean, and movies in 1968, which is a fantastic year for films, by the way, because you have 2001: A Space Odyssey.
Never heard of it.
Once Upon a Time in the West.
Never heard of it.
Rosemary's Baby.
Never heard of it.
Planet of the Apes.
Never heard of it.
Night of the Living Dead.
Never heard of it.
I was going to do more, but you probably actually haven't heard of the others, so.
Wow, okay. Fine. Name one more, then.
The Great Silence.
I have heard of that one, actually. I've seen that one.
I know you have.
I haven't seen any of the others, though. They all sound like garbage movies. Certainly haven't done any of them on another podcast, either. Well, it seems like a good year for movies.
The Swimmer also came out that year.
I've never heard of that one. You were just looking to find one that I was actually hadn't found. Or hadn't heard of.
If.
What?
The movie If from 1968, Malcolm McDowell.
If?
Mm-hmm.
IF? If
Mm-hmm.
what? If what? If. Anyway, move on from this bit.
Well, I'm not the one that.
Well, the bit in general. Anyway, 1968 was a good year for movies, huh? That's
Jerkhead, Hour of the Wolf, Ingmar Bergman.
What do you think could have been done better in this movie, Garrett? Anything?
There's a couple accuracy issues. Like they look through all of the like ladies' belongings from the hotel room and then like touch on everything and they put it all back in the cases and they're like, okay, now dust it for fingerprints. And it's like, you dummy. You know, that could
noir style.
So that kind, and that's the thing is that at that point, like they should have known better. So that kind of stuff would have been. There's a couple things. I mean, it's like it's easy now to look back and go, oh, well, you could have done this in the chase scene or have changed it this way because of like chase scenes that have added to it after it came out.
Yeah.
Or like budgetary things too. Like it's in San Francisco, but you never see anything with the bridge.
Yeah.
You know,
I thought it was
that,
in
like,
LA most of the movie, to be honest.
so it's like, you know, those things that have more like San Francisco monument type things would have been interesting. Of course, some of that might have been like rights usage,
Well,
or
maybe it was trying not to do all that stuff too.
it could have
'Cause,
been.
like, the streets are pretty iconic to San Francisco.
Oh yeah,
They use them a lot.
like I think his girlfriend was a little underused because she kind of brings up the fact of like, you know, does anything even affect you anymore? You know, like you see all these terrible things that happen, and like you have to separate yourself from it and compartmentalize it, and it's like, what is that doing to you as a person?
Sure.
That,
It's not
but
like it's not like she leaves him, right? So,
right, that's the thing, is at the end she's just back in his apartment, you know. So it's like,
if it was like, you don't pay attention to me, and it was like a Scorsese thing where the movie itself doesn't pay attention to her because the character's not paying attention to her, then it maybe would have made sense.
well, and it's not even the fact that I don't think that she felt that way. It's just like, how can I love someone who doesn't like, if this doesn't affect you, how do I know that other things won't affect you? Or like, will you become
like,
cold and callous to me?
Yeah, a lack of empathy, she almost feels.
Right. And so it's like, that's a very interesting thing to discuss about how can someone who is surrounded by violent crime not either also become violent, or like, you know, how can they not let that affect their relationship? Right. It's like, it's a very interesting thing, but they only kind of casually mention it, and they like bring it up in that one scene and then never touch it again and never really go anywhere with it. So it's like, it's interesting in one way because they brought it up, but it's like, why bring it up if you're not going to go anywhere with it too?
Yeah.
So it's like, if that could have been explored just a little bit, or even have one more scene, or maybe like have an interesting conclusion to that. Like, he, you know, it is almost, I mean, you could almost say, if the credits didn't start rolling, has he now decided, I've seen all this and I did all this hard work and it didn't amount to anything, and I don't want to deal with all the politics, I'm just going to hang it up, I'm going to turn my gun in, sort of a thing? You know, because it's like,
gun out, right?
That's to say, he leaves the gun out, and then he washes his face and looks in the mirror, and then his head cracks in the mirror, and Bob looks back at him. No, no, but I'm just like, you know, his face. He looks in the mirror as like self-introspection.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's interesting that they kind of left it that way, but it's like, it's almost so vague that you could almost write it off as just being nothing. Like, he's just looking at his face like, that's another day on the job. And it's like, it would be interesting to have a little bit more in the movie to like have more of a sense of unease at the end as to like, where is this going to take him, or is it going to do anything with him?
Maybe maybe he should have smashed his head on the mirror. Because
it's like, Robert Vaughn at the end, like, there's no, you almost expect there to be some like confrontation, I'm going to have your job because you did this. And it's almost like, well, okay, that goes that one. I'm just going to go on with my life. Like, it really wasn't that important to him, other than the aspirations. It's like, humanity, or these criminals really mean nothing to anybody.
Right.
Sort of a thing. So it's okay for us to be like, okay, well, it doesn't affect Robert Vaughn. For them to be like him weighing I don't want to turn into this guy, but I also want to have my own morals and standards. And so the audience can talk about that, but there wasn't necessarily enough there to get a strong grasp on, has this now changed him since she said something? And then he saw how it turned out. Like, he fights as hard as he can to do the thing that was right, and it still turned out the way that it did. Does that now mean anything for him? And so it's like, as far as like movie making goes, that would be more interesting to me. And obviously lots of movies have added to this, you know, and have those types of questions in them now. So it's just, To me, that would have been an interesting question.
Yeah, it got me thinking on that ending now too.
Right,
What he would have ended up doing. Was this the one last? Like this was the job that broke him, kind of thing.
Right, and so it's like, it would be nice if the movie gave any indications to make you think that, rather than it just being kind of like, oh, okay, it ends, and you don't necessarily, as the viewer, think about that unless you bring something to the table.
Right.
That's it. Other than that, I mean, it's one of my favorite movies. It's one of the movies that really got me into like car movies, and I mean, it's like you said, Steve McQueen is the guy movie. Definitely, I find that it's rarer and rarer that there are air quotes guy movies, unless they're like the Expendables, where it's like dumb jock guy movies. Ford v Ferrari did make me feel a lot of that kind of a thing, especially seeing it in IMAX with the sound.
Right.
So it's like I like
guys
those.
Being dudes.
I mean, Walk the Line is a guy movie. Logan is a guy movie.
James Mangold is a guy.
I know, that's the thing. But there aren't a lot of those. Tarantino, even when he directs women, it's like he makes guy movies that can still have a quality and have, deep, rich characters and like all different kind of like really good writing that anyone can go and enjoy. But it's definitely a movie that he made that has his touches on that goes to the type of Hollywood that he enjoys.
Sure.
So it's just like, I like that there are some, but I wish there were more. I mean, there's plenty of like comic book adolescent movies that it's just like it's just like with Disney cartoons made for children, but anyone can enjoy. The Muppets.
We call those family movies.
Right. It's like that. There are family movies. There are adolescent movies. There are mature movies. But I like for there to be, like, not dumb guy movies, but guy movies.
What about
there's
movies?
enough. Girl movies are fine too.
That aren't dumb.
That's fine. Like Midsummer.
It's a movie with girls in it. When you said that, I did like the look to the ceiling, kind of like, I don't know if that's entirely true, but like I realized that there's no video on this. That's funny. It was a good joke. I wasn't trying to undermine it. It was pretty.
No, that's fine. I see how it is. No, but I mean, it's like you can have Bridesmaids.
Yeah.
Be a girl comedy, but it is appealing to a lot of people because it's really well done.
Right.
You can have the Before trilogy, which is a romantic drama, which could typically only really appeal to certain people, but it's like it's equal in the characterization and the way that it shows the relationship so that both men and women can enjoy it.
We call those intellectual movies.
I know.
Boom. Roasted. God, those are good movies, bro.
Intellectual movies. Yeah.
You like that intellectual movie.
So it's
to seize the baby.
I like it when a movie doesn't talk down to you. I like it when the movie isn't full of man children. Like those are the only types of guys that exist. Or the dads that are too stupid to fucking fix anything in the house or do anything, and they're useless, and they're only bags of meat that go to a job to pay for what the woman can do. I'm sick and tired of those types of movies. Okay. Or those types of TV shows. Aren't you? Well, do you like watching?
You just personally attacked me. I don't do anything.
Do you like Homer Simpson being the guy that is like the dad? Or do you?
It's pretty funny.
It's funny, but I mean, it's like, okay, so think about modern dads on television. You have Homer Simpson. You have Peter Griffin. You have the King of Queens. I guess he's not really a dad.
That's
the
not
husband
modern either.
Well, I know. Oh, it's like I don't really watch a whole lot of TV now.
Obviously.
So you tell me, who are some modern television dads?
I don't know. I don't watch modern TV either.
Gotcha. So your point is you don't know any modern TV dads.
No.
So you don't know whether or not they're good or bad.
No.
Okay. That's great. Thanks for not proving any point.
I concede my argument.
I'm saying Back in the day, All in the Family, Carol O'Connor was...
Cosby, the ultimate.
Wait a minute. No, I'm saying... Oh, jeez. Not even go there. But I mean, Carol O'Connor was a bigot, a racist, an asshole, a jerk, an ignorant putz, and everyone knew it. And you laughed at how ignorant and racist the things were that he said because he represented that type of a person. They did not say, he is the father that everyone should emulate, and that's the reason why he's on TV, because this is how we view humanity.
Right.
And that's the difference, is the fact that you're saying, don't be stupid like this guy, not, hey, every guy is this stupid. The whole not every... Like Steve McQueen, no, I'm saying not everyone should be the same person. I'm saying it's fine to have different types of men in your movie and not everyone with the same voice. And just like it's fine not to have every woman in your movie have the same voice. It's diversity of character, diversity of intellect, diversity of maturity, diversity of thought, diversity of interests. Those are the things that are more interesting in a film, to actually show people being individual rather than all sound like it's coming from the same voice. And the only way to do that is to not have one person telling everyone what to do or how to act, but having people actually being, like, bring something to the table and it being a collaborative effort.
Well, it's a point of intelligent writers and also not studios trying to chase trends too and just push out the same thing.
So that's what I want, is more intelligence in film and television.
Well,
I also want more...
That doesn't make money, so we're going to go with this idea that this guy had, which is some dumb dad does dumb things in movie animated.
Then what we can do to fix it is have a more intelligent audience and having more intelligent politicians.
I would say we need a new plague, but...
Wow.
I did the Bruce eyes, but again, no video.
We can show that.
So what you're really saying, the end of all your argument is...
Stop being so fucking stupid.
Hashtag not all men.
Depends on what we're talking about.
Not all men are dumb and stupid. Just most. And half of this podcast, certainly. But I'll let you, audience, guess which one.
It's you.
It's me.
Way to end on a down note.
You got anything else for Bullitt? This wasn't a down note. I called myself a dummy. That was funny.
I called myself a dummy. It was funny.
Was it not hilarious, me calling myself a dumb moron?
I pissed my pants.
Well, that's not good. You know, I could stop it and we could always, like, cut it out. You could go to the bathroom.
Hey, Scoob.
Right, row. Do you have anything else you want to talk about for this one?
No.
Okay, I was just asking a fucking question.
Multiple times, even though I already knew the answer.
Yeah, exactly. So, at the end of the day, this was a pretty fun movie, and I'm glad that you recommended it to me.
Yay! What are we doing next time?
I don't know.
Boobs.
The boob tube. We'll be hitting up you, boob, on our boob tube.
But the thing is, we need to pick movies that are outside of our comfort zone. After I said all those things, we should stop picking the same type of movies that we always want.
Yeah, but if I pick a movie outside my comfort zone, then it has a possibility of being bad.
I don't think it has a possibility of being bad. I think it has a certainty of being bad.
Anytime I try to pick a movie outside my comfort zone, I don't know what's outside my comfort zone. What is outside my comfort zone? What is my comfort zone? I don't even know. I like most movies. What would you define as outside my comfort zone? Not personally, like you don't have to name a genre, but I mean, like, how would I go about determining what a comfort zone is, especially when I have a tendency to like anything that's well made, no matter the genre.
Look on Letterboxd to see, like, countries that you haven't seen a movie in.
Oh. I don't like reading.
Wow.
Got him.
Are there any genres that you have low amounts of movie watchages in?
Porn. Just kidding. That's my highest.
Well, and that's not on Letterboxd, so you literally didn't even listen to my question.
I would never log a porno on Letterboxd because I typically like to finish movies before I log them. I don't really finish those. Oh, how do you sort though?
I usually finish in them, but I don't finish them.
Wow, finish throughout them, but
I don't know why Finland. We had to talk about that so much.
Finland. What the hell's Finland going on about?
Kept saying finish.
Finland. You know what? We can figure this out off air. What movie we're doing?
It's the land of sharks with their fins.
That's such a bad joke. You should be ashamed.
You know what else is? There's a bottle of Polish on my desk, and I don't know why they're so racist.
Why do you have them stuffed in a bottle?
Juno, what else you'd like to watch?
Juno? You want me to watch Juno?
I mean, that's an okay movie.
I haven't seen it.
It's about teen pregnancies.
I'm unaware of what it's about.
You're unaware of what it's about?
I'm aware of what it's about. I don't think it's outside my comfort zone.
Underwear of what it's about?
Okay, if you like the show, you can follow us on Twitter. You can follow both of us on Twitter.
I've blocked everyone.
There are links in the description below. There are also links to our Letterboxd. Feel free to give us a like if you liked the show, and as well leave a comment and subscribe. Hit the little bell or Rooney or whatever. I don't really care about that. We post new episodes. Try to do it every week, but we'll come back and listen if you made it this far. Bye. Garrett's a bum. Everybody needs to know that.
Okay.